Hello and welcome. This is Jeffrey from Wholesale Digital in Singapore. I'm responsible for maintaining ANZ Supplemental Account Services capability that we're going to be showcasing today. Thank you for joining. The session is being recorded so that customers and other users in your organization can access it later at their convenience. So our training webinars are designed to help you get the most out of Supplemental Account Services, which is our virtual accounts capability. From time to time, I may just refer to it as SaaS. The timing of this webinar is around the fact that we are upgrading this application, which will be launched with effect from Monday, May 11th. This upgrade will modernize the platform to support improved performance and enhanced automation and provides a foundation for future enhancements. It also enhances the customer user experience with a refreshed, modern interface to make navigation easier, improve reporting visibility, and more fully align it with Transactive Global. These are the differences that customers will see and be able to take advantage of immediately. Today, we will focus on a set of user interface capabilities applicable to all customers, which are application access, personalization, navigation, inquiries, and reporting. It's important to emphasize that after the upgrade on Monday, all existing business functionality will continue to work as today, and current virtual account structures will not be disrupted. In this session, I'll be taking you through the Supplemental Account Services application as it will look on Monday and after. Following today's session, I encourage you to view our ANZ Digital Services help page for further information on the topics discussed. We'll show you how to find these at the end of the session. You can ask questions using the chat. Colleagues are online and may be able to answer many of them. Today's training session video and questions and answers from the Q&A, including any answers that we may be unable to get to during the session itself, will be published on ANZ Digital Services Help in the coming day or two. Now let's get to a demonstration of the upgraded experience. The process of logging into Transactive Global and selecting Supplemental Account Services will not change. The changes are after logging in. So what you see in front of you now is one of the possible landing pages after you've logged into Supplemental Account Services. And I'm going to show you the options that are now available in the upgraded platform from the main menu. The main menu is in the upper left-hand corner. So we see four options. One is accounts, and that'll provide a full display of all accounts maintained in the SaaS platform to which the logged in user is entitled. We also have Supplemental Account Services, which is the main application functionality and which we'll spend time with first. And you also have a reports link and an online help link, which we'll get to later. So first, though, let's look on the main application page at the banner level functions available under this menu item. Under the logged in user's name, you'll find several submenu options, including personalization, display formatting, time and date formatting, and reference currency. We'll look at those first. Now, most of this behavior is similar to other applications you'll have with ANZ or even just other applications in general, where you may be able to select a language and a date format and that kind of thing. For today, I'm just going to just illustrate reference currency, since that's a little bit unique to our virtual accounts family. So reference currency means a common currency that you can select, and I'll keep it at Australian dollars for this purpose. And what it does is, besides the information, in particular balances displayed in native currencies, it will alternatively also display in a reference currency. So if you're a Australian dollar or US dollar organization, you can always have that information immediately available to you on inquiries and reports. So besides selecting the currency, you have the option of turning it on or off. And I'll leave it off for today's illustration, but I did want to highlight the availability of that feature. Some other items are not necessarily modifiable if something is, so this is profile information with your name and role, those can't be modified, but anything that is modifiable will not be grayed out, but will be available for you to edit. On display settings, this is allowing you to select your landing page. We started off on the Supplemental Account Services page, but you can select a landing page as you can select account listings as your landing page. And if you're a user who's really just oriented toward logging in for the purpose of identifying and completing open tasks, you may want to log in onto this approvals page. So we'll be looking at these in detail in a minute. The only thing I want to point out here is that you can have any of these selected as your page that it defaults to when you open the application. I also want to point out two more things up in the corner, the drafts icon, which is a place to access all of your work in progress items. Now, these are a couple of icons that we're not going to be needing to, that won't be important to today's session, but I just want to explain what they are and why they're there. For customers who may be doing, initiating things like account issuances or interest profiles, they can save these as drafts as their work progresses and go back and access them there on the drafts page. And you can see that options would be to go in and open it up for more editing or delete it if you no longer need it. Similarly, we have an icon for the approvals page, and that's where a customer can, once they've submitted these items, track their statuses, whether they're out there within the organization waiting for approval, or whether they have been sent to the bank and processed, or sent and rejected and has to be reworked. So again, this is a critical workflow item for any customers who are involved in these workflows. Now for today, though, I want to go back and really look at the information tabs, and beginning with the accounts one. When you hit accounts on the main menu, what you get is a listing of all of your accounts pertinent to Supplemental Account Services. So this will include all of your virtual accounts, as well as physical accounts under which a virtual account structure may be built. And you can, with this new feature functionality, group these accounts in various ways. I'll click country as an example. Same account listing, but you'll see them presented by country with 10 accounts in Hong Kong here. And if you scroll down, you'll get your Singapore list and any other list. Likewise, you can perhaps sort them by currency, where you'll have them in similar fashion, just organized by currency. So you've got several choices here in which to interrogate or maintain your account listing. Now, if you do want to drill down into more detail about the virtual account structures or the accounts themselves, then you need to go down to the next menu item, Supplemental Account Services, where you see a lot of that detail as it's maintained and used in the application. Let's see, the first thing I will show you is the different views that you have. Let's take tree view first, because that's visually appealing and useful to a lot of people. If you want to see these accounts and the structures under them in this manner, you click view tree, and then for each structure, you click that you want to see the tree, and you'll get something like this, where you have your physical account header as well as the virtual accounts underneath it shown in the hierarchy in which they've been constructed. In addition, you can double click on any account and a sidebar will open with more of the detail around the various balance types, as well as setup information for the account itself, what kind of transactions it may be receiving or what kind of limits have been set up when it was established and issued. You can get the same information in a chart format. So if you hit chart view, you'll get this. And by clicking through arrows and down arrows, you'll be able to see progressively the structure of the accounts. In other words, what are child accounts attached to a parent, or what accounts are attached to the overall physical account at ANZ. Likewise, if you click on any of the account, again, your sidebar with the additional detail will be available on the right. Okay. When I one more thing I want to show here. When I open the listing and get the accounts, it helps maintain the relationship, so you can always keep that in view. In other words, these are all the accounts underneath this header. But here you can go to the far right and navigate to account detail. So I want to show you about getting to the account detail. This is a little bit more richer detail than is in the sidebar. For example, you can see perhaps when accounts are opened or things like that. And you can see your transactions against that account below. And I'm going to come back to share some more information about how that transaction listing works. But for the moment, I just wanted to show you how to access your account detail. And in fact, one of the behaviors throughout the application are these arrows, which typically just do direct you to more detail about the whether it's the account or the transaction or whatever you're on, you can get to a little more detail. Now, perhaps you do want to see the transactions against a specific account. So let's go to an account and hit the detail. And in this case, we'll keep scrolling down to the transaction listing. And the basic choices you have here is really how much history to pull up. You can pull up the latest 20 transactions or any other number that you want to input here, or you can go to transactions from the last week or last month or this month, or you can go to other and you can build your own custom range for which you want to get transactions. So for example, we may want to say, I want transactions from January until February. And I'll just do it this way, actually, to make it easier. Okay. Okay, I managed to get January to February 7th here. No transactions during this period, but typically in an active account, you will have a lot of transaction activity, and you can call it up. And I want to illustrate just then one more thing that may be of typical interest, and that's exporting this listing. So if you hit export, you'll be navigated to a couple more questions carry out that function. One is, what format do you want the report in? And you've generally, in most report and export examples, do have the choice between PDF, CSV, and XLS. And once you pick those, you can support the, export the transactions. And then you have an immediate opportunity to go to the export center and see that report. So in your, when the reports are available for download, the download button will be active and ready. And you can click it, and of course, at that point, behaviors similar to most other applications of this sort, where the report will be available to be saved or to be printed. And I'm just going to share with you, without going through that part of the process, what this report looks like, where we have exported the account detail that we were looking at, and also the transactions that we had picked up for viewing. So then you've got this available for your users. I wanted to then go into the sort of formal reports. And if you go back up to the main menu and go to the reports, which was the third link here, and we hadn't clicked into it yet, but we'll do that now. You've got the two choices of going to ad hoc reports, which basically means, is in the current application, the on-demand reports that you can generate. And in this upgraded UI, you go to a function up here in the upper right-hand corner again, called Generate Report. And there you really, you go through and identify all of the details you want to generate an on-demand report. Okay, that primarily means starting with Supplemental Account Services and selecting of the dozen or 13 reports we have, which one you want to see. Balance reports of common use and interest to customers, so I'll just select that for now. Again, a format selection. And then you're asking for a report against specific accounts. And so we'll have to make those selections. This one's not mandatory. I'm going to skip this, and what will happen was it'll give you all of the virtual accounts beneath this physical account here. But if you did want to just request individual controlled accounts or virtual accounts, then you can do so here by name. And lastly, whether you're looking for all accounts or just active ones, we'll pick all for this purpose. And at the final step before submission, you've got the opportunity to review and edit your selections if you need to make any changes in your request. Otherwise, you can just hit submit, and you'll get an immediate confirmation about the request going out there. So reports then appear in the report center once they've run, and once they have run, you'll see, and they're ready to download, you'll see a download button that you can activate and go through the steps of downloading your report for printing or saving. Okay, one more thing before we go to the where the help resources are. Going back to the banner, you'll see that there is a want to menu item. And within that, you've basically got some shortcuts to view a number of things. Once you were actively using virtual accounts, you can view interest profiles or go to the export center, go to the account listing. We looked at these two today. You can go to accounts or any of these items here, and it sort of makes a convenient way to jump back to someplace once you're familiar with the platform and want to go there. Perhaps you want to go to the export center, for example. So some of these functions more relate to self-service, and others are really just resources to get to where information is residing in the platform. Okay. Lastly, I wanted to show you the resources available at Online Help. And you can always access these by going to that fourth item under the menu, and to get to Supplemental Account Services, you go to this page, and in the bottom corner, you'll see a tile for Supplemental Account Services. And there you can see the information as to some of the navigation steps and banner type information I just showed you today, some background information about virtual accounts, but also some assistance for some of the key processes, whether it's creating or editing or closing virtual accounts, or the same with interest profiles, or something again I showed you today, which was generating the reports. And we have some of this key functionality also in videos, so you can watch those videos for that. Now, the one other thing that I want to highlight on this menu is under training webinars, you will be able to go to, keep navigating down here, to recorded webinars. And what we're doing today will be lodged when it's fully recorded and ready to post up on Supplemental Account Services in the Coming Soon section. And you'll see that we have put a placeholder there. And that's where you'll see the video as well as the Q&A answers included. So I hope this session's been helpful. I thank you for joining today. And if you have any questions, please do reach out to the bank via your usual contacts in client services or your relationship manager. And we're back here to help as needed. Thank you.